Hello, this brief video outlines the procedures to extract data from the ACIS. That's the Applied Climate Information System. That's ACIS. And here's the URL for that website is scacis.rcc-acis.org. That's scacis.rcc-acis.org. And again, that the ACIS is the Applied Climate Information System. So let's dig on in and start. Let's do an example. So for instance, if we want to extract the monthly precipitation from a station, and we don't really know when the station started, so we want to figure out, extract all the data that's been collected at one location, and then give us a monthly totals, and give us annual averages, annual totals. Okay, so when you go to, if you type in scacis.rcc-acis.org, this is what you'll get as the front page. And since we want to do a single station, let's try that. So let's click on single station, and since we want monthly monthly totals, we'll click on the monthly summarized data. So click there. And once you do that, you'll be presented with the options here. And for instance, we'll choose output as table. So this will be sort of the HTML output. And then since we want precipitation, we want to choose the variable as precip, and then the summary as sum. You can choose other things, but for instance, if you want to just get total monthly values, choose sum. And since we don't know when it started, we'll choose this variable called POR, and POR is the period of record. And then we want to go to the present. So this is 2015, and we want all 12 months. And next is option is where do we want to get data from. So we click on the station area selection. Click there, and we want to, for instance, we want to look at Hobbs, New Mexico. So if you want to do that, you type in Hobbs, NM, and once you do that, you'll be presented with this map with a red box around. That's the search area. And if your station is not within that red box, you can always hit the expand search area button to increase the box. So for instance, here in our case, we want Hobbs, and our station is within that box, so we can zoom in. You can either zoom in through the plus and minuses, or use if you have a mouse with a wheel, which I prefer, is you can zoom in with your mouse. And you notice it centers on the station here, and right on Hobbs. And there's two kind of icons here. So there's a blue pin, and then there's little drops. The blue are the National Weather Service cooperative observation stations, and then the little drops are the COCORAS, Community Collaborative Rain, Hail, and Snow Network observation sites. So you may want to look at, if you're, for instance, looking at the precip from in this area, you may want to look at all of the stations and compare them. We're just going to look at, for the sake of this short video, just look at the Hobbs National Weather Service cooperative site here. So once we get to this and we want to select it, you just click on the little blue icon, and it updates it here in the station. And all you have to do next is hit the go button, and it gives you the monthly total precip for this station. So we want to verify that's the station you're looking at. And since we wanted to look at the period of record to the present, for this station, it started in 1912. And as you notice, there's a lot of M. So M corresponds to missing data. So apparently there's the observer wasn't taking data the first 11 months of that year, and then they started taking in December of 1912. So, and if you scroll down to the bottom of this page, you can see it goes all the way down to the current time. So, and then of course this was recorded in July, so there's nothing in August through the rest of the year, and it gives you a running total as of today. It ingests the day. This website ingests the data on a daily basis, so it should give you the data as it is entered in by the observer. And notice there's also on the bottom of the page there's the mean, maximum, minimum. So since each column is monthly totals for each year, they also give you the average. The mean of January, for instance, is 0.52 inches, 0.46 for February, and then below that it also gives you the maximum precipitation that fell in January, which was for this site is 6.23 inches in January of 1983, and also gives you the minimum. So there was no rain that fell in January of 2014. And also, if you go all the way to the right, it gives you the average annual precipitation for the period of record. So that includes all the years that is within this query, and it also gives you the maximum. So the most rain that fell on an annual time period is 2004, when they had 35.35 inches, and then in 1930 they had their least annual precip was 0.27. So, for instance, if to dig a little deeper, when you have these M's, or even just the numbers, you say, well, for 1913 in January, they had 0.03. So we really want to know is, there's 31 days in that month. So how many of those days actually did the observer take in observation? Sometimes you may look at a number and it may not be a complete month. So what if we want to do is go back to the query and tell the website to tell me how many observations are missing out of that particular observation. So let's go back to the options selection and go down to the additional options. So we want to click on the include missing days count. So that tells you how many days are missing. So we click that and then hit the go button again, which will resubmit the query. And as you notice, there's an extra number in each cell. So for instance, in that month we're looking at in January of 1913, so that 0.03 inches, there was 0 days missing. But if you go down, there are sometimes, okay, in like 1921, in January 1921, they measured 0.05 inches, but five of those days of the month, there's missing data. So they have, so you may want to look through and find days that, for instance, there's a reason why there's the M, there's all 31 days are missing in this one. So you want to go through and you may want to pick a criteria of, so what are the minimum number of days in the month to give you a valid monthly precipitation. For instance, here's example one with quite a few days missing. So in February of 2005, they measured a 3.14 inches, but of that month, they have 13 days were not, they did not have observation for. So that's quite a high number to have missing data. So you may want to exclude that if you're doing a statistical analysis, because it may bias your results if you have a month that's not really have enough samples to give you a precipitation number. So you could either bring it all into Excel, or with this do a select all, or you can go back and into the options and choose a CSV table. So the CSV is comma separated variable, and Excel likes that because there's commas between each of the cells, and you can manipulate that in Excel to give you whatever kind of statistical format you want. So so that's pretty much it for you can go through and look at the different products. There's single station, and you can make some graphs and summarize data, and you can also go through and choose multiple stations. And we may do another short tutorial on how to look at multiple stations and what options you have. But that's it for the single station